Hello and welcome back to Aetheral Space 17.28, The Adventures of Nicholas Quix.
Nicholas Quix, have we heard that name before?
We've not heard that name before.
Do you think it will be, is that One Star's name maybe?
No, his name is One Star.
Oh, okay, I have no clue who Nicholas Quix is. Shall we?
Yeah.
Day 3. Why don't you eat? Zephyr Pandershi smiled. You look hungry. Dragana Hadrian sat at the end of a very long table, and at the other end of the table sat the master of this planet. Zephyr Pandershi, in the body he once called Titan White, carefully cutting at the steak in front of him. The table was piled high with gourmet dishes of every shape and size, but Dragana's attention couldn't have been further away from them. Her mind was fully focused on the three men before her, at the other end of the table. Zephyr Pandershi, Nayane, and One Star. It would be simplicity itself for any of these three men to kill her right here and now. From what she'd heard of Nayane and One Star, Zephyr Pandershi might have actually been the most merciful option present.
A nightmare blunt rotation.
Everyone here knew, after all. This private dinner was just an excuse for Pandershi to fill his own ego. Once he was satisfied, the interrogation would begin. It's what it feels like to have to sit with C-Suite. Dragana had received... it's like CEO, CFO, CTO, like all the bigwigs. Dragana had received interrogation training as an ultraviolet, but she also understood that there was simply only so much a human body or mind could take. Her eyes drifted down to the cutlery she'd been provided for her own meal. If she was fast, could she... You couldn't. Pandershi calmly boarded her train of thought. My One Star is too fast. He'd stop you. One Star smiled genially, hand resting on the pommel of his sheathed sword. I'm sorry, miss, he said pleasantly. Personally, I think it's commendable you're willing to sacrifice your own life for a greater cause. However, as a knight, I simply cannot allow a lady to come to harm in my presence. I hope you can forgive me. Every individual word radiated with sincerity, which somehow made the combined statements seem all the more insincere. One thing was definitely true, though. One Star would not allow Dragana to escape that way. One Star's smile faded just a little as he put a finger to his ear, before glancing down at Pandershi. It seems there's been an incident near the permutation chamber, he said seriously. Pandershi raised an eyebrow. May Miracle? He asked. No. One Star shook his head. Gregory Hazard is apprehending her as we speak. Most likely, this is the work of another variant. I can't imagine the UAP taking much interest in the ritual itself. Pandershi sighed, running a hand down his face before glaring exasperatedly at Dragana. One of your friends? He asked. He clearly wasn't expecting an answer, and he was right not to. Dragana kept her mouth shut. She was pretty sure that, whoever this was, it wasn't one of her allies, but there was no merit in surrendering that information. Please continue your meal, One Star said gently, his eyes still closed. I'll resolve the debacle. Pandershi waved a hand. Have the Vice Commander deal with it. I want you here with me. At those words, One Star winced. Well, that won't be possible. Why not? Pandershi frowned. For the moment, it seemed like Dragana was forgotten, sitting there awkwardly while they had a conversation without her. She tensed up uncomfortably in her seat. It was like being invited to a friend's house as a kid, only for them to start arguing with their parents in front of you. Not the sort of thing you wanted to be the audience for. Well, One Star sighed, it seems my dear Vice Commander has found a mission of his own. From the mental journal of a certain sparkling paragon. In the background music, it's playing that da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Allow me to introduce myself. You must be nervous. Who is this? Who is this who's speaking to me? Well, I won't keep you in suspense, lovely friend. My name is Nicholas Quix, and I am blessed to be Vice Commander of our Zipan's prestigious CD Rangers. Haven't heard of me? Why, that's all right. I'm more than happy to let you know what I'm all about. When someone says apple, you automatically think of an apple, right? Well, let's do the same with a man. Picture him. 2 arms, 2 legs, a head. Pretty standard, yes? Only this is not a standard man. Zoom in! We see his face, dignified features, a regal brow, prominent cheekbones, a beautifully bald head, and the piece de resistance, a thin black mustache trimmed to a splendid simplicity. The blue eyes of a true-born cogitant shine with hidden wisdom. Why, who is this handsome devil? Well, I think you know. That's me! Let's drift further down. Not that much further, you dirty dog. We see his uniform, a pristine white suit, cared for with discipline. Ooh, nice. The cape, too, is magnificent, flowing as he walks. Very nice. The tie's a little askew, but there we are. He adjusts it in a show of utter professionalism. The weapon next. I'm particularly proud of the weapon. Most of my fellow Sealy Rangers are content with the standard issue weaponry. Their strength is in their uniformity, after all. But my heart burns for something a bit more exotic. It's of my own design. It looks like a tennis racket. I can tell what you're thinking. How's that a weapon? Oh, ye of little faith. You'll see when the time is right. You'll see that I'm on the move, dashing through a dark tunnel. But I'm not walking. How can this be, you ask? Don't you worry, it's not a riddle. I am riding on my personal transport automatic, designed to mimic the splendid bodily structure of that infamous cryptid, the horse. Wished me upon its back, it gallops quite magnificently, while my subordinate Sealy Rangers follow from behind. So, that is myself, Nicholas Quix, Vice Commander of the Sealy Rangers. You know who I am, but perhaps you have a better question. Perhaps you wonder what I'm doing here. There will be no secrets here, my friend. You are myself, after all. This mental journal is not but a letter from me to I. My quest tonight is one of virtue. As Vice Commander of the Sealy Rangers, it has come to my attention that there are hostile elements lurking within the walls of Zipan. This is a thing that cannot be allowed to pass. As if that wasn't bad enough, the place where these dreadful folk have made their base is the site of Zipan's greatest tragedy. Ward 8. Have they no soul? No sense of decency? We know where they are. We know what they're doing. And yet, our Lord Zephyr Pandershi will not give us leave to enter that place. He cannot bring himself to acknowledge Ward 8 in any capacity. The pain of Zipan's sole failure, the defeat against the demonic Negan Rush, burns too painfully. But I understand. I understand his agony. I understand the duty of an understanding servant. That is why tonight, with my most trusted rangers by my side, I, Nicholas Quix, shall sally forth and uproot the enemy. Onwards! You know you're going to die soon, right? Nine asked, smirking down at his prey. That was a lot of fun to do. You did the text, and I just imagined, like, pompous, like, British guy, like Revolutionary War times. Rayanj looked up with weary eyes. When was the last time he'd slept? Not so long ago. When was the last time sleep had felt like sleeping? That he couldn't answer. It was as if the vital function had been switched out for something else while he wasn't looking. And if the culprit was anywhere, it was standing before him. Shut up, he muttered to the hallucination. He was nestled in a dark alley in the middle of Ward 8, separated from the others that had stayed behind here. Whether he had distanced himself from them, or them from him, he couldn't quite remember, but he knew it was the correct choice all the same. The degradation within him wasn't something safe to be around. I wonder why they didn't take you with them to Ward 1, Nyang grinned. Oh, actually, I think I know. It's your unreliability. Why, when Ruth Blaine was fighting the captain back there, what were you doing? Squatting down in an alley just like this, trying so desperately to keep yourself under control? They're very generous for letting you be even this close to them. You're so disgusting. You know that? It was funny. Although the babbling shade before Rayanj gave the impression of Nine, it didn't actually speak much like him at all. It was more like Nyan's will, embedded within those damn insects, filtered through Rayanj's own thought patterns. So in a way, this was just Rayanj parading himself. I'll kill you, he whispered. What was that? You know what I said, Rayanj snapped. It really was for the best that the others weren't here with him. He'd hate for them to see him arguing with empty air. He narrowed his eyes further as he saw the smug smirk on Nyane's lips. "I'll kill you," Nyane echoed mockingly. Strong words. I feel like you've said them before, though. And they didn't get you too far back then, either, unless I'm remembering wrong?" Rayonch pulled his trembling knees close to his chest, trembling not from fear, but from the sensation of things crawling around inside of them. He stared down at the dust-coated ground, his consciousness pooled between exhaustion and crisis. "Shut up," he mumbled. "And now you've lost all your fire," Nyane frowned. "How about this? I'll give you a little line, too. Something to consider." Rayonch glanced up, and saw the nightmare visage of Nyane inches away from his own. That ghastly smile stretched across a too-wide face. His wide eyes were nearly slipping out of their sockets. "I'll kill you," the horror hissed, "in every way that matters. Doesn't that sound like fun? There won't even be anything left of you. Just a hollow shell filled with crawling me. Believe me, it'll be an improvement." With those words, Rayonch's fragile composure finally broke, and he took a wild swing at the thing before him. Of course, it struck nothing but empty air. Nyane's mocking voice echoed from the walls all around, slowly fading away. "Seems like you're in a bad mood. I'll leave you to it. But not for too long, okay?" After the voice finally became inaudible, Rayonch let out a slow and shaky breath. It was just as the Nyane thing said. The gaps between its appearances were getting shorter and shorter. He could feel its nails at the back of his brain nearly constantly. How many more days could Rayonch last without losing his mind? Did he even have days? Noise. Immediately, Rayonch abandoned his terror and locked into the role of a warrior. His head snapped up, his eyes were keen. When he stood, all of his trembling had stopped. Slowly, he stepped up to the edge of the alleyway and looked out, past the street, down the hill, and towards the tunnel from Ward 7. There were lights. Someone was arriving here. A lot of someones. By all means, Rayonch should have been feeling more trepidation than ever. Without a doubt, they'd been discovered. But his heartbeat was steady and his breathing even. This was battle. This, he knew. Popcorn?
Nicholas Quix, Vice Commander of the Sealy Rangers, hopped off of his automatic horse and took his first steps into Ward 8. His expression was sombre and his eyes full of sorrow. For any citizen of Zepan, Ward 8 presented the bitterest of memories. One of his subordinates held up an artificial sunspot, consuming the false land in its glow, and they saw what time had done to this district. Buildings rotted away, streets left to fall apart. Even now, the stink of death lingered all around. Nicholas clenched his fists. "There were 2 crimes committed here," he declared to the rangers behind him. "The first was the massacre executed by the wicked Nigen Rush, and the second is the desecration of this resting place these new intruders commit." The Sealy Rangers behind him clapped politely, and Nicholas nodded to himself. He put his hands on his hips, looking out over the desolate Easter. "There should be a fairly large group," he muttered, more to himself than anything else. "A swordsman, an armour user, more copies of that silver-haired fellow. And I'll sure there'll be others too. How disappointing. Are they truly all cowards? I'm sure they've noticed our arrival." He took his racket-shaped weapon from its holster and held it high into the air. Silver aether coursed through his body, and his aether-tick activated, his skin sparkling like a diamond. His beautifully bald head was nearly luminescent. He's sparkling.
I love him. He seems like a Fire Emblem side character.
"I call you now, miscreants," Nicholas declared. "Present yourselves and present your arms. Face me here and now in righteous combat, or earn the undying enmity of Nicholas Quix." The Sealy Rangers clapped politely at Nicholas's grand declaration, but that was the only response he received. After a few seconds, he sadly lowered the rackets. The click of his tongue echoed through the dark space. "Cowards one and all," he sighed. "Unbecoming, but not unexpected. We'll begin our search in a... I'm here." Nicholas raised an eyebrow, turning to the source of the voice, to the silhouette slowly approaching from between 2 nearly collapsed buildings. The man's posture was terrible, one leg dragging behind him. The man's voice was withered. It sounded like he had 1 foot in the grave already. And yet, he had appeared here, and that meant more than anything else. Nicholas smiled. Ah, he said, it seems we have found a true warrior. Sounded like Bane for a second there. I was wondering what would break first.
I was born in Z-Pad, molded by it.
Rayonch clutched his arm as he took in the threats before him. Around 12 of these Sealy Ranger people, arranged in a V formation, and the leader of the squad, the bald man with the tennis racket. This was not ideal.
What if Nicholas had an ability that was just called Sand, so it was Nicholas Quix's Sand?
Ah. That would be interesting. That's an interesting fanfic. I'd write it if you want. The Sealy Rangers weren't anything special as far as Aether users went, but Rayons was far from in peak condition himself, and this bald guy seemed to cut above the rest. He hadn't seen him during his time in Oberon, so he couldn't have been that important, but still, not somebody to take lightly. Rayonch came to a stop before him, releasing his arm and holding a posture full of false confidence. The bald man just blinked, eyes wide. Good God, man, he said. You look like death. Have you been sleeping all right? Huh? Rayonch furrowed his brow, but before he could reply, the bold fellow spoke again. No, wait, he said, holding a hand out. You are the enemy. No matter how decrepit you might look, I shall not express sympathy for you. A fine try, but your tricks will find no purchase within Nicholas Quix. Excellent resolve, Vice Commander, one of the Sealy Rangers called out. The entire squad clapped politely for their leader. Rayonch, for his part, just barely managed to suppress a sigh at their ridiculous display. Now! Nicholas snapped his fingers, casting a glare at Rayonch from his bright, constant blue eyes. Hey, baby! I know you're not here alone. I'll have you tell me where your comrades are hiding. Hiding. Yes, that was definitely what was going on. They'd agreed beforehand. Should the enemy attack Ward 8, not Wars 8?
Oh, fuck. How many wars have there
8.
been? You don't want to know.
They'd make use of the city to conceal themselves and escape. Aisley and that priest were certainly lurking somewhere distant by now. Rayonch was the sole fool who'd come to meet the enemy. Well, unluckily for the Rangers, Rayonch had no idea where their quarry was. And, just as unluckily for them, Rayonch Patel wasn't the sort of man to surrender his allies. Still looking straight into the eyes of his enemy, Rayonch flipped his combat knife into his grip. Don't presume it will be that easy, he growled. Nicholas smiled confidently. When it comes to the safety of Zipan and its people, he said, silver aether already beginning to crackle, I never presume. No point in waiting. Victory belonged to the swift. Rayonch thrust his blade forward. Gorgeous morning! And stabbed empty air. His eyes widened. The other Sealy Rangers hadn't even moved yet. He'd been far too fast for them to react to. But somehow this Nicholas Quix had been even faster. He'd suddenly become a blur of movement, disappearing from Rayonch's vision and leaving an after-image that parted like smoke. How sad, Nyan sneered from a distant rooftop. A warrior wouldn't let their enemy get behind them like that. Rayonch whirled around, knife whistling through the air. Just as Nyan had said, Quix was already standing behind him, hands on his hips, a wry smirk on his lips. Confident, but defenceless. The knife struck the side of his head. Vivacious afternoon! And stopped right there. All of Rayonch's momentum was arrested the second he made contact with Nicholas's body. It went beyond infusion. It was as if the man was suddenly an unbreakable wall. He stared uncomprehending as the Vice Commander's smirk spread into a grin. Elegant evening! And his fist slammed into Rayonch's stomach. Rayonch had been infusing his body with his crimson aether, but that offered little protection against Nicholas's sudden blow. In fact, it was as if the infusion parted to allow the man's fist passage, the protection weakening even as the blow made contact. Rayonch doubled over, spittle flying through his mouth. Want a popcorn the last little bit to you?
Sure. Gorgeous morning! Again, Rayonch's counterattack struck only empty air, and again, when he swung around to pursue, vivacious afternoon! Nicholas was back in his original position, and the punch Rayonch slammed into him hurt his own hand more than anything. Elegant evening! This time, at least, Rayonch had the good sense to leap backwards before Nicholas could unleash his own attack. He panted for breath. The exhaustion of this disorienting ability, combined with the chaos already brewing in his brain, was pulling him back into weakness. No, it can't be this easy. Fight, bastard. You're a warrior. I don't enjoy bullying the weak, Nicholas said seriously, silver aether still sparking around his hands. Surrender now, and I'll promise you fair treatment. You have my word. So generous, sir, called out a Sealy Ranger. The squad clapped for their leader once again, although to Rayon's ears it was little more than mockery. He ground his teeth together. He could feel it, writhing under his skin, responding to his fury, eating away at him. Even his fear of it was just another meal. If a slow withering was all that awaited him, then was it not better to throw himself into a battle like this, exhaustion or no? Pull it together.
Just tell yourself to lock in.
Lock in, I ain't illusion. Rayon rose to his full height, bringing his hands up in a ready stance. From here on in, he would fight seriously. Crimson aether crackled around his body. "My name is Rayon Patel," he said, staring Nicholas in the eyes. "Not once in my life have I surrendered, and I don't intend to start now." Nicholas narrowed his own gaze. "Splendid!" he said, mirroring Rayon's stance. So little space between them. 1 step, 2 steps, and the distance closed. Their hands were nearly touching. Their aetheral sparks bounced off of each other. Rayon took a deep breath. Nicholas took a deep breath. Pfft, and they were interrupted. 2 heads turned up to behold the sky, and a shining star looked back down at them. A pale spectre, clad in a flowing white kimono, his sudden presence illuminating Ward 8's black sky just as much as the device the Sealy Rangers were using. Rayon turned his body, making sure to keep both enemies in his line of sight. Atoy Muzazi and Ruth Blaine had spoken about this one. It was part of the trio of Hadrian variants that had engaged them in the ring city outside. Nararihyone, the one that Blaine had said resembled a guardian entity. At least it seemed to be that one in terms of appearance. The way it was looking down at them now, not so much. Ruth Blaine had spoken of a being that seemed more like an automatic than a human, but the face Rayon saw right now was anything but. That expression was clearly twisted into a smug malevolence. "2 weaklings," Nararihyone said with disdain, "and I imagine there's another 2 hiding nearby. Where? I'll eliminate the priest and be on my way." Rayon opened his mouth. "You—" Whatever retort he had, it never even reached deaf ears. "Never mind," Nararihyone smirked. "I'll dig him out of the rubble myself." Leo Rain. Vivacious afternoon.
Gorgeous morning.
What? He's behind eye, Nararihyone? I love this guy. I love Nicholas Quix. Surely he will be around for many chapters.
Surely.
We have some questions, don't we?
We do. I don't know if we said it is a record about it. It is a half-chapter week, I'm afraid, because I've been very busy.
Tanhony's literally been fighting for his life to save all of you, and you don't even care.
Yeah.
You want more chapters.
It's okay. It doesn't hurt.
I can take this much, can't I?
The giant hole in my stomach. It's like, it doesn't even hurt.
Just like smiling somberly, like I truly do love my fans. Tanhony?
That's why this works. I sacrifice.
No! He would never. Stiff asks, how is the dead connected to Helis Audrey, if at all?
I'd say they probably met, but I don't think there's an actual connection between them in terms of their abilities.
All right.
Which is what I presume you meant.
Next, MT asks, how did the Zodiac survive till present day? Since AS is galaxy-wide, the constellations wouldn't look the same from most planets.
They are sort of, in terms of astrology, there are sort of astronomy and astrology, they're sort of relevant from home, but the concepts of these, like, zodiac figures and sort of archetypes have been somewhat divorced from that at this point.
Yeah, but I thought all trace of the old history was lost.
We've said this many times, like, things have survived in some forms, but sort of divorced and attached to new meanings sometimes.
I see. Lan asks, tell us about Damon's tattoo armaments. Were they his idea? How were they made?
So yeah, they were his idea. He wanted to get some additional power before the Dawn contest. So he had, there was an adventure, let's say, where they rescued a member of the Maker Guild who was under threat. It'll be in light novel 27.
Hell yeah.
And let's see, that would have been, well, if we're saying there's a tattoo artist, that would have been the tattooer, the tattooist.
I don't like how sudden that name seemed.
Well, it's because that's how the Maker Guild works. Is we've still got the swordsmith, we've had the gunsmith, and
yeah. So why would they not be called the inksmith? Why would they be the tattooer?
Because there's an inksmith isn't a real fucking name. It's just like they have the name of the craft. That's what they take as their name.
Well, then wouldn't it be the tattoo artist and not the tattooer?
I wouldn't want it to be two words. The tattooist it is.
Oh, okay. So they can make up words to make it one word, but
tattooist is a real word. What are you fucking talking about?
But they can't do inksmith, which fits
tattooist is a word
of smiths and makers.
What do you mean it's not made up? Your entire fucking argument's meaningless from the beginning. It's a real word. It's tattooist.
What about the artist?
Well, there's different kinds of artists.
Oh, I see. So Tanhoney tattoos aren't art, by the way. They just
That's not what I fucking said! That's not what I fucking said at all!
Okay.
You said...
So you hate waffles.
Because if there's not one guy who does all fucking art is what I mean. Okay. That's why there's no art. That's like the artist. The tattooist is specifically the guy who does the tattoo art.
No, it's fine. I just think it's problematic.
You're fucking... it's half art. It's pissing me off because there's no effort into this rage bait at all. Because you're just not engaging with what I'm fucking saying.
Why should I? You're wrong.
What do you mean, what am I wrong about? What am I wrong about what I say?
Alright, say it again.
What do you mean, what did I say that was so disagreeable?
The fact that you said that they can't make up a word and then you made up a word.
That's not what I said. Tattooist isn't a made up word.
I'm gonna Google it right now. Hold on. Is tattooist a word? Let's see. Oh, well, this is fake news. It's in Britannica, in Cambridge, so it's like a British word. I see. They call that in England.
Cope overdose. He's overdosing on copium.
No, it's only...
Someone get some CPR.
It's only a UK word, so it's not a real word.
Get an EpiPen, he's got too much copium in his system.
Here, by the way, are some good words. Ink maker, illustrator, engraver, imprinter, intaker... and tattoo artist are all other names for tattooist, which are much better.
What's better about them? Because you suggested them?
Dude, the imprinter hits so much harder than tattooist.
Because imprinter's too vague. They could be imprinting other stuff.
What about ink maker? In other words,
because he doesn't make ink, he makes tattoos!
Hold on, I'm gonna look at words.
Inksmith could be like a guy who makes inks.
There's also tinter.
What? It's getting so fucking abstract now. Why would it be a tinter? It does, at that point, a tattooist, you know what he fucking does? He does tattoos.
Also, I don't know why inksmith would be confusing, because he's building tattoos out of ink. It's not like people, put ink in a forge to, create it.
Well, that's what inksmith would... Inksmith sounds like someone who makes the inks.
Okay, sure.
What do you mean, sure?
Okay.
Post in the comments if you think Darnell deserves anything.
He's using my old name too. Let's see how it is.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Sorry.
It's fine.
I was so angry that my real feelings came out.
That's sad. Don't say that. It's gonna make other people actually sad. Stiff says, since we presumably know the Sapphire Stars...
Oh, yeah, we're still doing the fucking questions.
Abra Facade and the Moon Automatic has sort of looked into it a bit. How much do the Abra Facadian people know about it? Is the star like a known thing to them? How long would you need to live there to be let in on the secret, if ever?
Well, it's something known to them. It's a figure in the culture. I would say it's not an Abra Facade, by the way. It passed through there at one point, and it's basically where they got the art of precognition from.
Oh.
So, on its way out of known space, it went through Abra's Facade, is the idea.
But, do they know the details of it? This is where Aether was made, or is it just, strange object of mystical qualities?
They know that it's, the originator of Aether. They know that.
Are those brains still going at it in there? Or did they all...
Well, yeah, that's what the Sapphire Star is. That's... Any sort of will it has is the gestalt of all that.
Lan asks, did Mariloko take influence from Quantum King when making his abilities?
I would say so, yeah. He's that's his closest reference point for a strong power.
I just had a terrible idea and a realization because you mentioned the Sapphire Star moves, and I think it all clicked for me. What's happening? Hold on, I think I just predicted the plot of Aetheral Space.
What's he talking about?
So 10 days is when the big thing's gonna happen, right?
We got a time limit, yeah.
I think
when the prince is all the pieces will come together in exactly this amount of time.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is the Sapphire Star is going to arrive on Zpan, and then it's going to have Dragon pass the prince to the Sapphire Star with its, like... And then it will become part of and take over the Infinite Brain Network, and then something terrible will occur.
It's an interesting theory.
I think I'm right. Because why else would you mention it still being a factor today?
Because I would ask the question.
And the arc right before this one was giving us the entire history of what it is and how it operates, and we know it's a bunch of brains, so it could theoretically be passed to them.
It's interesting.
And they've already unlocked Aether. Yeah. Interesting. Alright, I think let's leave it there for now.
Yeah.
Alright.
We'll see you next time, guys.
Yeah. And bye!
Bye!